Well, good day, everybody. Welcome back to the High Desert Indoor Garden, which is still doing very well. If you've seen the past episodes, you've seen recent updates on the citrus trees, and we had several other good discussions about growing plants to their genetic potential. And today I wanted to come to you guys and talk about why I started this channel and why I started putting videos on YouTube. And really, I was inspired by others who were doing it. I was not into growing. I wanted to start growing a few things, but I never imagined that it would get to be like this, where I'd be living in my house with trees and seedlings and tomatoes and peppers and everything else that I started in here to prepare for the outdoors. And I never imagined having several raised beds and a miniature greenhouse and all of that. But I was inspired by so many others that were sharing their experience and showing just how easy gardening can be. And I'll go ahead and list off a couple of the channels that inspired me, and I'll put them down in the description as well. There's several channels, and I hope that I'm sure I'll forget somebody. But of course the main ones are the Praxis 55712 Ray. He's got so many videos, and he's got a really fantastic approach to gardening. Also, John Collier from growingyourgreens.com. He does have fantastic videos. He does have a great approach to gardening. I don't necessarily agree with everything or every approach, but that's the great thing about it, is that you can do your own research and you can pick and choose. And you can just look at other people's success, and then you should understand and know they are doing something right if they're having success. So it doesn't really mean anything for somebody to come along and say, hey, you should be growing this way or that way. But all you have to do is look at the success they're having. So it was very inspirational for me to come across these channels and see these guys that were growing lots of food for themselves. And you know, my health had started to decline the closer that I approached 40. And so this is when I really started looking at things seriously. And then when I first grew my first tomatoes, my first homegrown tomatoes, even though I only got a couple of tomatoes because I was not really growing very well. I was just growing a couple of tomato plants in some pots. But it was enough to get me hooked, because even though I only produced a couple of tomatoes, to taste and to see how much different that food is than the food that you get at the store, just blew me away and made me want to do more. There are other channels out there. I come across JT Bear's channel. He's a lot more into aquaponics, but I really enjoy his videos. He's been an inspiration. There's Stephen from Alberta Urban Garden, and we don't want to forget Patrick from One Yard Revolution. And then of course there's Rob Bob and Rob Bob's Backyard Farming channel. Sorry if I messed that up, Rob Bob. There's so many others that I know I should be mentioning, but just watching their videos, it looked like so much fun. Not only did it make me want to garden, but it made me want to inspire others as well. So that is really the main reason why I started my channel. And not only that is, you know, if you are, you know, really pushing yourself and you're trying to grow things differently and figure out how you could grow things better or more efficiently or with more taste, and just doing things differently. It's nice to be able to put that out there and show other people so that they can try things. I've had great feedback and great response from people who are glad to see that I could grow these citrus trees here in Zone 6 at 3,000 feet above sea level, where we get -20 Fahrenheit in the winter and lots of snow. Just a lot of good feedback, especially in the seed starting videos, starting your own citrus tree from seed. A lot of people really enjoy that sort of thing. The pomegranates, you know, buying a pomegranate at the store, you know, taking some of the seeds, planting them, and growing your own pomegranate tree. People have really appreciated these videos, and it's been the greatest experience being able to share this with other people and have other people say, wow, you can do that, I'm going to try that too, and just inspiring other people. So that's why I do the channel. It's to help it's to help all of you, and you guys have helped me in your support of the channel and by subscribing, so I really do appreciate that. So some things that I'm going to be doing in the future is I have this Sunblaze grow light behind me, and it does a fantastic job, but I'm wondering, can I build a grow light that can do just as well or better, or more efficiently, use less energy, get more bang for my buck, basically more lumens or a better spectrum, and use less wattage or less power. So I'm going to be doing a video on how I am going to make a grow light. Not necessarily how everybody should make a grow light, but just how I'm going to do it. I'm not an expert at it. It's going to be my first time, so I hope you tune in to support it. What I'm going to be using are LEDs, and I've researched a lot of different lighting sources, and every option, every lighting source seems to have its advantages and disadvantages. And LEDs, I will cover more of this when I do the grow light video, but this is a cob or a chip on board LED, and I'll give you a close-up of it. It's basically just one big LED chip, and this particular one is just a 30-watt chip. There are people out there using 50, 60, 100-watt chips, which is just mind-blowing for an LED chip. It's very powerful, and I didn't want to go with that much power. So the way that these work, like I said, chip on board. So you take an LED light. Maybe I can post a picture of an LED light as just a standard LED light bulb. And you have the tiny LED chip in that bulb, and then sort of this glass case, glass bulb around it. Well, a chip on board, it takes all of those tiny LED chips and does away with the glass bulb part, and it's just straight on a circuit board putting those LED chips, so you can get a really bright and efficient LED light with the chip on board. Now, you do have to take other things into consideration. If you run them at full power, they're going to have a shorter life, they're going to heat up. So being able to dispense the heat and that sort of thing is going to be, you have to take that in consideration when you build it, so that you make sure that it's able to self-cool. But it's going to be an exciting build, so I hope you guys stick around to subscribe to the channel to see that. I do have other projects as well. I meant to have a sunroom, not necessarily a greenhouse, but a sunroom built, because at the moment I've got all this stuff sort of in the corner of my living space here, and it would be nice if it wasn't so intrusive on the living space, and these trees and these plants could have their own space. Still visible, still a part of the living area, because I really do enjoy them in the living area. It's just more of a defined space rather than just in the corner in front of the patio door where you can barely get in and out through the door, etc. And I intended to have this sunroom built, but we didn't get the permits done in time before things really started to freeze. So now the ground is frozen, and so it's put off for at least a couple of months. Good news is the permits are ready. Bad news is now I'm not ready. So maybe you guys could share your own comments and your experiences. Have you started gardening? Were you inspired by somebody? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments section, because I do like to check out other channels. It's really exciting when I come across a channel, especially if somebody's growing in a different way, or they have a very inspirational way of bringing gardening to people, and that's always exciting. So if you guys haven't gotten serious about gardening yet, you really ought to. It is the greatest thing ever. My job that I have to work to support myself gets very stressful, and the gardening just really, it should be a stress reliever. It shouldn't be something that is going to cause you more stress or frustration. If you have an open mind and you learn from others, you watch other people's videos, you see how they're doing it, and when you come across a problem, research it, ask other people for help. It's going to be a fantastic experience, and it's going to relieve your stress. Not only that, is, my baby is about 17 months now, and right around when he turned 1 year old, the garden was just producing, and we had tomatoes, and tomatoes were all over the counter, and we thought, let's see what he does with a tomato. And I have video of him just eating this tomato, and he's eaten several tomatoes. Of course, unfortunately, we don't have any fresh tomatoes this time of year, but it's just so satisfying to be able to feed your family, and especially your young one like that, because when he was young, I mean, he's still young, he's 17 months compared to 12, but it was really difficult to get him to eat. He wouldn't eat baby food, he would nurse, and there was very few other things that he would eat, but fresh tomatoes from the garden, he would just go crazy for them. And there's no more of a satisfying feeling to experience that. So I really hope that if you're not gardening, that you get into it, because it is awesome. It's the best thing, best hobby, best life choice ever. So I want to thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the videos, because that really helps me out and helps get the word out there to everybody else. So much appreciated, and I hope you guys have a good day.